live, so I want this part to be recorded. One thing that has been very present, or has been in the forefront of my mind for a while, the things that we talk about, right? There was a time in history where for us to have these types of conversations could have gotten you killed, right? So we are fortunate. That's one miracle that we're all standing in right now. But when you actually start looking at Muslim, mysticism, right, which is Sufi, right, Sufi. When you look at Christian mysticism, when you go to like the Upanishads, right, when you start looking at some of the martyrs, some of the saints, you'll start finding this common theme where they were using this poetic verbiage, this beautiful language to communicate oneness, unity consciousness, right? Now, that's the core of everything that we're talking about is unity consciousness, is I am, okay? Now, when you branch off of that, from that foundation that I am God, that I am the one, that the one is all, that there is no separation, there is no me and you, there is only God. There is no me and God, there is only God. Right? So once you build that foundation, all of these other things kind of branch off from it, even reality creation as a whole, right? We sit here and we talk about the I am. We sit here and we talk about reality creation. All of that, right? What is the deeper truth is there is only God. And so when we have that perspective, there's only God. When I look out, it's not that I'm looking at you or my mother or an SP. There's only God. And having that foundational understanding helps with everything. One of the things, the messages that we've been pounding lately has been, because you are love, because you are the center of love, the source of love, the wellspring of love, because you are God, how could love ever leave you? You get what I'm saying? So even though that person may seem to walk away, they can't, because love can't leave you. And now on another level, if this person is me, how could I leave myself? I can't. I could only believe in the illusion that I'm leaving myself, which is what manifestation really is. It's returning back to the truth that love can't be lost, that I cannot leave myself. However, we've been so programmed by the world that we do often end up leaving ourselves. We betray the truth of who we are to chase shadows in the world. The shadows just take different forms, right? The shadow could take the form of a job. The shadow could take the form of that specific person. The shadow could take the form of money. The shadow could take form of a sickness, right? But we begin to worship those shadows instead of understanding that I am the light that casts the shadow. The shadow is only there because I cast the light, okay? So the shadow is just one perspective of me anyway. It's just one little moment, and I cannot be defined by one moment. Remember, God is eternal. Your essence is eternal. God is eternal. Your essence is eternal. The only thing that clouds our view of these things is because we start identifying with all these illusory things, these illusions, right? When no snapshot in time, no thought, no emotion, there's nothing that can define the true essence of me. I am eternal. I am that I am, right? No matter what. I am. Okay? So, if you really want to get into that unity consciousness, I would highly advise, studying mysticism or going down any path, right? You can go down a path of finding a religion that has a core in mysticism, which I love, right? Any kind of spiritual practice of belief or any kind of, religious perspective that has a core foundation in mysticism, I'm in it. From the knowing that I am God, that God is everything. Because even I am God is secondary, right? There is no I to be God. There is only God. From the knowing that there is only God. Now, every other belief stems from there. And everything is simply a perspective of God as the all, right? Whether you look at Christianity is one perspective of God is the everything. So since God is the everything, I can create this perspective of me being separate, of God being up there, me being down here. Okay? And then you can take that and just copy and paste it across all religions, all spiritual practices, right? Where God is everything, but we just take on these different perspectives to view the all. Okay? Cool. So let's get into it. Let's get into this. So this is called, it's called The Silence That Speaks, The Gentleman and the Ground of Being. The silence that speaks, the gentleman and the grounded being. So the quote that we're going to really discuss today is a quote from Hafiz, Hafiz. Sufi, I believe. Sufi, I believe. All right. I am a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. Listen to this music. What is it saying? It's really going back to even that statement that Jesus made. I and the Father are one, but the Father is greater than I. I can do nothing without the Father. I of myself can do nothing. Right? Because the I doesn't exist. Right? Which is a deeper truth. Like we were just talking about, there's only God. There's only God. So even me saying I and the Father are one, I'm simply speaking in the form of a concession to illustrate a point. And I honestly, because the crowd is growing and people are coming from all these different walks of life, I'm going to moving forward, I'm going to be more careful about semantics, right? Because one of the things that I have been saying are things like, simply accept your desires as truth. Accept that this is the truth. This is the truth of who you are. This is an absolute fact. And so some people will say, no, the truth needs to be proven. All right. So I'm going to take more time I don't care about the words you use, right? I care about defining what I mean, right? Because I don't give a damn if you think there's a difference between truth and fact. I could care less. I used to be stuck in that where I was like, oh, the word has meaning. And if I say it like this, then it means something different. And now I'm unintentionally creating a reality. That shit does not matter. What you know it means is what it means. Unless you believe that you can magically speak a word that you don't know what it means, and all of a sudden that reality can show up in your life. All right? So point blank period. Let's get that out the way. So when I say accept it as the truth, accept it as a fact, accept this as just the absolute statement of fact, the absolute truth of your existence. You are God. Boom, boom. You can't argue with it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. It is just your nature. It's just who you are. This is your being. Okay? This is your absolute being. All right, so here we go. I am a hole in a flute that Christ's breath moves through. What is that? What am I saying? I am simply a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. I am simply taking one perspective of the all. And the Christ, right? The I am simply moves through me, flows through me. Listen to this music. Beautiful. To live as this awareness is to surrender the illusion of being the musician and become the instrument. The ego seeks to play its own tune, to control, to impress, to prove, but the soul knows it was crafted to be hollow, open, receptive, flowing. In the emptiness of surrender, divine breath finds passage. The melody that emerges is not yours. Yet it flows through you with exquisite intimacy. It is the sound of the infinite expressing itself in form, the unspoken word made rhythm and tone through the quiet willingness of your being. When we accept what is, when we accept who we are, now we allow our life to become this beautiful symphony of the divine expressing itself through me. Now, everything that I said there was simply a concession. There is no me. There is only God. However, because God wants to experience itself through this experience, what do we have? We have this divine and holy apparatus placed within us, if you want to call it that. What is this apparatus called? It's called an ego. What does this ego allow me to do? It gives me the beautiful gift of perceiving separation. Well, Alex, why the hell would I want to perceive separation? Why would I do that? A lot of you have things you like to do. How many of you like having sex? How would you experience that without the illusion of separation? If there was no you and me, how would sex happen? If I simply dissolved into oneness with everything. So there's a divine part of you, right? The all decides to create this the all decides to create this beautiful vessel that allows it to experience itself. And so now I have the illusion of separation, right? And there's only God, but now I see it through this fragmented perspective. I get to simply observe myself as myself, within myself, in the center of myself. divine. Absolutely divine. All right? To be the flute is to live without resistance. It is to allow the divine to sing through your joys, your heartbreaks, your daily moments of silence and noise. You realize that perfection, right? Perfection does not lie in performance, in striving, in reaching for some imaginary ladder of righteousness. It is an openness. It is an openness. The Christ breath doesn't choose the flawless. It chooses the hollow, those willing to be moved. When you no longer try to make music, the universe begins to hum through you effortlessly. Your life becomes the song of God, remembering himself, and every listener who hears your melody recognizes a note of their own forgotten divinity, as it's so eloquently placed or stated in scripture, right? You will know them by their fruit. You will know them by their fruit. Right? Your life becomes the song of God remembering himself. And every listener who hears your melody recognizes a note of their own forgotten divinity. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so here we go. The silence that speaks, the gentleman and the ground of being. Okay? How do I follow this divinity without my loved ones thinking that I'm in some kind of psychosis? Well, their judgment of me doesn't matter, right? It's not their judgment I'm worried about. It's my own judgment of myself. It's my refusal to accept that my truth is okay, that my truth is cool, that my truth is fine, right? So is there something there? Do I need them to accept my belief because I want them to prove that my belief is true? Well, they can't do that. They can't do that, right? Do I want them to convert? Because I have this superiority, this ego that says, no, I know better than you. Well, now I'm slipping into that spiritual ego. That's not fun. That defeats the point. If everybody is just a perspective of God, gazing upon itself, I'm not greater than you, you're not greater than me. But oftentimes that ego creeps in and says, no. You're inferior because you don't know this. Or even the other way, we'll say, because you pray more, or meditate more, or know more scripture, because you can read little things that you wrote down, that must mean you're closer to God. All of that's an illusion. There's no closer or further from God. There's nothing you could do, nothing you could say, nothing you could think, nothing that you could feel right now to get closer or further from God. So relax, right? Just chill out. Ain't shit you can do right now to get closer or further to or from that which you already are. How can you get closer to yourself? How can you get closer to what you are? How? Riddle me that, right? So understand, what is the deeper purpose of you trying to get them to understand you, right? Why do I care if they think I'm in psychosis, right? I'm fine. I know I'm fine. And if I know I'm fine and they're simply reflections of me, they are me. Well, then they can't truly judge me. I can only judge myself through them. They, right? They're just the illusion. Me thinking that it's them judging me, that's the illusion. That's my own ego trying to hide me from the truth of who I am, right? I am judging myself, okay? I am judging myself. Oh, yeah. And that is something that Jesus said, right? That when a prophet isn't accepted in their hometown, what is the exact quote? I know somebody knows it. Some of y'all can go quote for quote in that motherfucking scripture. And I admire that, right? I got to write it down, which is why I do. But what does it say, right? You'd be rejected in your hometown. A prophet's always rejected in their hometown. Something along those lines, right? This isn't talking just from the physical realm. What is the hometown? If this is a book of consciousness and everything is within you, what is the hometown? We're not talking about things outside of you. This is a book of consciousness. This is a metaphysical book. The hometown is your own belief about yourself. It's your own belief about yourself. It is that ego that thinks it knows you. It thinks it knows you based on the past, based on what you're feeling, based on the situation. A prophet is treated with honor everywhere except in his own hometown, among his relatives, and in his house. Mark 6:4. Appreciate you. Mark 6:4. What is that referring to? All right. Now remember, we can look at things both from a very realistic perspective as well as a metaphysical perspective. Right? But when we start looking at things from a metaphysical perspective, it wouldn't make sense for me to think that it's talking truly about my relatives and neighbors, because that's just me judging myself anyway. My neighbors and relatives simply become an outpicturing of my most intimate beliefs about myself. They see me more than anyone else. So of course, they become what? The vessel to hold my assumption more precisely than anyone else. Oh no, not the cucumber. Not the cucumber. Oh well, that's cool. I would do the 5-second rule, but I don't want y'all to start looking at me saying that, damn, this nigga nasty. I'm motherfucking nasty. I'm just gonna leave that down there right there. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that down there for now. All right, so here we go. The silence that speaks, the gentleman and the ground of being. He used to wake up with the weight on his chest. No, I ain't gonna do that. You ain't finna gaslight me. Gaslight your SP, don't gaslight me. All right, gaslight your SP, my brother. Don't gaslight me. All right, here we go. So read this from the perspective of someone waking up, realizing who they are. Okay? He used to wake up with the weight on his chest. Not the weight of the world, though that's what he told himself, but the weight of himself. His own mind, his own history, his own endless effort to become something better than what he already was. Pause. The human condition, right? The human condition. Feel like you have the weight of the world on you, right? But it's really just the weight of himself, of ourselves. It's our own mind. It's our own history. It's our own endless effort to become something better than what we already are, right? So that's the foundation right there. Now, no pause, no pause. He prayed, but not out of faith. He prayed because he was scared. Scared that if he stopped striving, the world would forget him. Scared if he stopped affirming, stopped reaching, stopped working, stopped striving, stopped becoming, stopped healing, the world would forget about him. Scared that if he didn't keep trying to manifest, to meditate, or quote unquote raise his vibration, he'd slip back into the dark place that used to swallow him whole. Right? That used to swallow him whole. In this context, that's actually a negative thing, despite what some of you may think. All right? He told himself he believed he was God. He's coming into this realization, right? I've told myself, he's told himself that he believed he was God. Cool. He repeated it like a mantra. I am God. I am God. I am that I am. But each repetition carried the faint aftertaste of doubt, as if he were whispering a truth he hadn't yet earned. This is why we'll say what? Simply accept it as fact, accept it as truth, accept it as the knowing. Don't think you are, know you are. Right? So now he's coming into this understanding intellectually via vocabulary, but he's trying to feel his way to believe it. Feel his way. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, I hear that I'm God, but I don't know. I just don't feel it. How do I truly embody it? What about when I forget? As if you being God is conditional. As if you being everything you desire to be is conditional. Okay, so this should already be a very relatable story. Hopefully this helps, all right? So scared that if he didn't know, I already read that, all right? Each repetition, right? He repeated it like a mantra. I am God, but each repetition carried the faint aftertaste of doubt, as if he were whispering a truth he hadn't yet earned. He tried to convince himself that belief alone could lift the fog, but the fog only thickened. The more that I try, the more I don't feel it. The more I don't feel it. The more I try, the more I don't feel it. The common condition. We've been taught that feeling is everything. Oh, you got to feel it real. But what about on those bad days? What about the days that you just feel off. Does that mean you're not it? When I feel good, does that mean I'm what I desire to be? And when I feel bad, does that mean I'm no longer it? Right? So this is the journey he's going on, that's going on in his mind, right? He's trying to understand I am God purely up here, purely in vocabulary, all right? There were days he couldn't get out of bed. I want you to think about that. So the day that you can't get out of bed, when all of a sudden you feel down and out and worthless, in despair, in depression, you feel bad. And because we have been programmed for so long, we're like, oh, because I feel bad, I must be doing bad. Huh? His mind, right, felt heavy. His body felt heavy. His mind louder than the outside world. He'd scroll through quotes about awakening and see people smiling in candlelight, talking about peace, as if enlightenment were a mood one could buy in bulk. There was a gym right there. There was a gym right there. He would scroll through quotes. All right, I am that I am. Okay, everything is within me. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Perfect. A little dopamine hit feels good right now. Okay? He would see people smiling in candlelight. People in meditation. People that seem to have their life together, smile and joy, love and light. Oh my God, I love it. It's so great, right? Talking about peace. Talking about enlightenment as if it were a mood that anybody could just go out and purchase. He'd say to himself, if I am God, why do I still hurt? Once again, associating the knowing that you're God with feelings. Well, if I was God, I wouldn't feel this way. If I was God, my bank account would say differently. If I was God, this woman wouldn't leave. If I was God, this situation wouldn't be so fucking shitty. Battling his thoughts. He's trying to understand this intellectually. He's trying to feel better about the truth. Okay? And that question echoed in the dark like a blade scraping stone. He began to wonder if this whole unity idea was a lie, some spiritual placebo for the desperate. How could he be divine when he still flinched at his own reflection? How could he be light when his thoughts felt so unholy? How? How could he be divine when he flinched at his own reflection? Which is reality. Right? It's all supposed to mean me. How am I divine if I don't even like it? The bills bother me. The health conditions of my family trouble me. Right? How can I be light? How can I be God when my thoughts feel so unholy, right? Associating himself with his thoughts. Well, my thoughts don't feel right. Well, if I was God, then why would I be thinking like this? Why would I be creating something like this? This is simply the journey of awakening that we go through, right? We're in this conditional phase. Well, if I was God, I wouldn't think like this. If I was God, my life should look different. If I was God, why would I ever choose this shit? He began to wonder, right? He wanted to feel better. Here's another one. But every attempt to feel better made him feel worse. Been there. Been there. Every attempt to feel better. Right? I was sucked into it in the beginning. Right? The whole feeling is a secret thing. When I misunderstood it. When I thought the feeling was emotion, okay, I have to feel like I'm $1 million. Let me ignore my bank account that has $14.37 in it. Every time you try to feel better about a situation you don't like, let me just feel better about this situation I don't even fucking like. Right? Every time you do that, it makes you feel worse. Every affirmation became another way of saying, I am not there yet. I'm screaming affirmations at reality, hoping that it changes. I went from screaming prayers to God in church to screaming affirmations at reality, hoping it changes. One night he reached the edge. Not the kind of edge people see from afar, but the invisible one you step over quietly when you've had enough pretending. He sat in his car outside his apartment, engine off, silence loud, And he whispered, if you are real, I need you to show me. Not in words, not in signs, just show me. Reaching that edge. I had enough of this shit. All right. If this is real, fucking prove it to me. There was no lightning. There was no sky parting. There was no angelic choir. There was only stillness. But for the first time, he didn't try to fill it in. Didn't try to fill it in with mantras and affirmations and visualizations and trying to make himself feel better. He didn't try to manifest or align. He didn't reach for God. Getting over the illusion, thinking that there's somewhere to reach. There's nowhere to reach. Right? We hear God is up there. We think we have to reach up there. Then we see God is within. We think we have to reach within. But you just are God. God is the all. There's nothing to reach for. It's like a fish swimming around in water, reaching for water because it's thirsty. It makes no sense. Right? So for the first time, he didn't try to fill it. He didn't try to manifest or align. He didn't reach for God. He let himself fall into God. And in that surrender, something cracked open. Not a thought, but a knowing. It came softly, like a memory surfacing from beneath water. You are not a man trying to reach me. You are me pretending to be a man. You are me pretending to be a man. One of y'all sent me a beautiful note earlier today. And it was like, Alex, how do you integrate this knowing that you're not your thoughts, you're actually living, being? Right? How do you integrate that? And the answer that I gave was something along the lines of, and I think this is helpful, right? It was, even when I used to give too much power to my thoughts, I would think things like, well, I'm not them. I can just observe them. I can watch them, right? But even that simply felt like pushing myself towards some action where, okay, if I'm doing that, if I'm observing my thoughts or my emotions, then they're not me, but it still felt like I was doing. It still felt like, okay, I'm in this situation and I have to pull myself back simply to observe things that are happening and define them as not me. But instead, the approach that I take is simply accepting, honoring both my humanity and my divinity. Meaning, of course I'm God. That's a fact. I mean, that's just a fact, right? But on the other hand, I think that I'm Alex as well. But I'm not Alex. Alex is a perspective. Alex is a persona. I've been a million different versions of Alexes in this lifetime. Right? I can decide who I am and then still honor my humanity by simply allowing myself to flow through life. And then when I have a decision to make, from the knowing that I'm God, that's simply it. I don't need to sit around monitoring or observing thoughts or emotions. I already know that I'm not them. I don't need to fight them away. I don't need to try to do anything. I don't need to create separate. There is no, it's all God anyway. These things simply rise and fall within consciousness. If they're not me, if they're not creating, why am I trying to observe or control them or do anything with them? I simply exist from the knowing that I am God. That's it. I simply am God. I am that I am. Now from there, what do? I simply choose and choose and choose what I want and choose who I am. But even though I choose those things, are those things even the truth of who I am? When I say I am prosperity, am I prosperity? When I'm saying I'm betrayed, and these people just keep betraying my ass, am I betrayed? Does it feel like a trick question? Is that why I'm not answering? That's it. As the good brother Danny said, I'm simply awareness. I'm just deciding. I'm just choosing what I identify with. I cannot limit awareness to prosperity. I can't limit awareness to prosperity. I can't limit awareness to love. Sure, those things are within love, and I'll experience different polarities of that based on who I decide that I am. But none of that truly is me. I just am. I just am. Your boy just is. You just are the isness. Everything else is a concession. Everything after I am is a concession. Even I am is a concession because there's no I. There's only God. Everything is a concession. Everything is God. God just is. Everything after that is a concession. I am prosperity, a concession. It's a reduction of all that there is. I simply get to choose what perspective I'm seeing the all from. This is what the I am that I am means. Right? I am that I am. I am is the beginning, I am is the alpha, and then I am is the omega. I am is the end. Right? The beginning and the end of that is simply what I decide in the middle right now from this linear perspective. So right now I can make the decision that I'm prosperity. I am prosperity, I am. Okay, cool. I've assumed that perspective, but I'm much more than that. I just get to decide who I am being. Does that make sense? I trust that it does. Why they say God is everything and everything is God, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. There is nothing outside of God. Okay? So God is everything, everything is God, meaning God is omniscient, omnipresent, right? So God is everywhere and everything all at once. Now, everywhere and everything all at once. Now, when I look at the entire, if I could veer back and pull back and look at the entire cosmos would simply be the fullness of God. Now, let's say I narrow my perspective just to the earth. The earth itself is the fullness of God. Now let's say I narrow my perspective down to a cloud. That cloud contains the fullness of God. Where a piece of God is, all of God is there. Now, if I go to myself, the entirety of me, it contains the fullness of God. The fullness of God is present here within me. Now, if I narrowed that down to an eyeball, the fullness of God is in each of my eyeballs, undivided. It's this fractal nature of God where all of God is everywhere and everything all at once, down to every individual cell, every proton, neutron, whatever you want to call it, right? Every quark, right? The fullness of God is in all of those things. God is everything, and everything is God. God is everything, and everything is God. Absolutely beautiful. Right? Absolutely beautiful. So here we go. You are not a man trying to reach me. You are me pretending to be a man. He froze. Tears gathered but didn't fall. The words weren't heard, they were remembered. Every struggle, right? Every doubt, every tear, every sleepless night, every indecision, right, had been the divine wrestling with its own reflection. In the days that followed, he found himself quieter out of reverence. The noise of trying had dimmed. He began to hear the voice that doesn't use words in the hum of the refrigerator, the rhythm of rain against the window, the way strangers smiled at each other without reason. Everything pulsed with an unseen intelligence. He realized the world hadn't been cruel to him. It had been teaching him. Every heartbreak had carved a space wide enough for eternity to fit. Every failure had been God clearing the stage of ego so the true actor could enter. Everything simply been calling you back to yourself. It's as if you walk through these situations and these scenes, and it's like the divine is like, can you see me here? Can you acknowledge that I am here as well? Can you acknowledge that you are me as well? Right? He realized the world hadn't been cruel to him. It had been teaching him. Right? When he walked now, he walked slower. Each breath was worship, each glance, communion. One morning he looked in the mirror and didn't see a man trying to be spiritual. He saw the infinite pretending to be finite for the sheer beauty of experience. Right? God just wants the experience. Right? He laughed. The laugh of a man who's finally seen the punchline of his own suffering. He whispered, I was never becoming anything. I was remembering everything. And in that instant, the boundaries collapsed. There was no me and God, only awareness, only being. The same stillness that moved the stars was the same stillness behind his eyes. The same silence that began creation was the same silence beneath his breath. He realized then that the struggle had never begun. Let me say that one more time. He realized then that the struggle had never been against life, but against forgetting. And the victory was not in finding peace, but in realizing peace was never lost. He didn't kneel anymore because he found it in every gesture. He prayed not in words because his whole life became a prayer. When he washed dishes, it was adoration. When he smiled at a stranger, it was worship. When he forgave himself for not knowing sooner, it was salvation. The recognition that you're your own personal savior. Let me say that one more time. When he forgave himself for not knowing sooner, it was salvation. It was salvation. He wrote in his journal that night, I no longer seek to rise above my humanity. I have discovered divinity within it. I no longer seek to rise above my humanity. I have discovered divinity within it. I no longer search for the kingdom. I breathe as it. I am not a man who found God. I am God who remembered himself as this man. He closed the journal and whispered one last sentence into the dark. Be still, cease striving, and know that I am. And for the first time in his life, the stillness answered not as something outside of him, but as him. I am that I am, right? No matter what. And the salvation was when he forgave himself for not knowing sooner, it was salvation. The beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dance of remembrance. The beautiful dance of remembrance. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. We still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. I'm gonna read straight through these. I'm lying. I'm gonna do commentary. I don't know why I tried to lie to myself like that. The morning after the awakening felt deceptively ordinary. Sunlight slanted through the curtains. Coffee hissed in the pot. Yet something fundamental had shifted. The gentleman stood at the window and felt the world looking back. Not as an observer watching objects, but as the ocean recognizing its own waves, right? Coming into unity consciousness, right? The boundaries are starting to get blurred, right? Now he sees everything with the eyes of God, right? Like Meister Eckhart says, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees. Every face on the street, every gust of wind, even the smallest glimmer of dust in the light, all of it shimmered with the same silent awareness that now breathed through him. Ooh, beautiful, right? And don't worry, so this is being streamed to YouTube, and you can get the document, right? The document will be uploaded to this actual YouTube video, right? Okay. At first, this new seeing was overwhelming. He'd walk through the city and feel both infinite and fragile, as if he could dissolve into the crowd at any moment. He saw a beggar and wept because he recognized his own forgotten humility staring back. He saw a child laughing and realized it was the same laughter that once echoed through his own soul before fear built walls around it. Everything was himself, wearing different costumes of experience. There was no outside anymore, only the divine playing hide and seek through human form. Do you feel that? Still, right? So hear this. Now here's the next part, okay? He's remembered that he's the divine. He's remembered that he's the divine. And now everything is starting to have this beautiful aura to it, right? He had that little initial dopamine hit. Oh, I'm God. Everything is perfect, right? He's woken up. He's remembered. Now, what happens after that? What happens after that? Still, the mind wasn't ready to give up its ground. The body was not ready. Here's a gem, okay? This is a gem hidden in these next two paragraphs. The mind wasn't ready to give up its ground. It whispered doubts. You're losing it. You can't live like this forever. Are you sure this is going to work? Are you sure you're not just going crazy? This might be psychosis, huh? And he listened for a time, tightroping between two realities, the remembered oneness and the lingering habit of separation. Old reflexes clawed their way back. Pride, jealousy, fear of being misunderstood. He's having this human experience, right? Now he has to learn how to balance the humanity and the divinity. He's found the divine within his humanity. But now those thoughts still show up. Yet now, every fall felt transparent. He could see the illusion even as he stumbled through it. Suffering no longer condemned him, it revealed him. Suffering does not condemn him anymore. It's not saying that you're messed up. It's not saying that you're off. It's revealing you. It's simply giving you the opportunity to remember. Remember, we've had several discussions recently where we've talked about memory and the purpose of memory. We often use memory as a way to identify ourselves, right? I've been through this situation in the past, so this is who I am. And that ain't the purpose of memory. That ain't the purpose of memory. The purpose of memory, of remembering, is to remember that your divine ass is God right now. So now, okay, it's to remember that remember that your divine ass is God right now. So now the suffering no longer condemned him. Boom. All of a sudden, now that I become aware of what's going on, of how I feel, of what I think, what happens? I simply remember that I'm God. It's just an opportunity for me to use my memory to say, no. Even here, I am perfect. Even here, I am that I am. One afternoon, sitting at a cafe, he overheard two strangers arguing about politics. Now, here we go. Now, here it is, right? Let's say it doesn't have to be about politics. Let's insert whatever triggers you. He overheard two strangers arguing about religion. Two strangers arguing about conflict across the world somewhere. Normally, he would have picked a side. But now he saw two facets of the same consciousness debating its own reflection. Now he saw two facets of the same consciousness debating its own reflection. The anger, the passion, the righteousness, all sacred movements within the same eternal dance. He realized, here's another gem, unity does not erase difference. It sanctifies it. You simply look at difference differently. The one expressed itself through contrast. Contrast, not conflict, contrast. What he once called division, conflict, was simply the infinite exploring the edges of its own imagination. If the all is God, if God is the all, then what do you expect not to see? We as humans can take sides. That's natural. That's normal. From our human perspective, we judge things right, wrong, this, that, good, bad. But to the infinite, it's all God. All of it. As triggering as that may sound, it's all God. It's all God. As weeks passed, he noticed the small miracles. When he stopped resisting, life began to mirror his inner harmony. When he stopped resisting, people were kinder. Did they necessarily change? Perhaps. But it was because his perception had. The outer world softened as the inner world surrendered. Every encounter became a form of prayer. Every conversation a chance for God to speak to himself. Even moments of loneliness carried a holy ache, a reminder that the beloved hides within absence as much as presence. Beautiful. Beautiful. One night, let me stop eating and talking before I choke on here. I don't need y'all watching me choke on a live stream. That would be wild. That would be so wild. All right. One night he returned to the same window where months ago he had begged for a sign. The street was quiet, right? Moonlight painted everything in silver stillness. He whispered, "So this is it. You and I were never two." The wind brushed his face like a nod from the infinite. No choir, no vision, just the simple pulse of being. That was enough. He finally understood enlightenment was not an escape from the world, but the courage to see the world as God's reflection and remain in awe of it. He smiled. Not as a man who had found answers, but as awareness itself, content to live the question. Not as a man who had found answers, not as someone who finally, after seeking for the information, it all just magically clicked. He simply rested. He chose to rest in the knowing, not because he found answers. He decided to simply be awareness itself, content to live the question, just content. And as he turned away from the window, the city exhaled. The stars hummed their silent hymn. And existence, for one brief eternal moment, recognized itself through his eyes. Right? I am that I am. No matter what. So it's this beautiful journey of this man remembering who he is. And then some of the common pitfalls on that journey, right? Starting off with this confusion, right? I know that I'm God in vocabulary, but what does that actually mean? How does that pertain to my life? How do I feel it more, embody it more, right? Now he graduates a little bit more. Okay, and he realizes, no, this is just a fact. It's just the truth. It just is. And so from this perspective, I get to choose. Everything is oneness. It starts to dissolve the boundaries of good, bad, right, and wrong. But then all of a sudden the mind still creeps in. Are you sure this is right? What if you're crazy? You might be wrong. This might be psychosis. You might need to check yourself in. And now even going through that, it just gave him an opportunity to remember, to surrender. It just continues to give you this opportunity to remind yourself who you are as you go down this beautiful path. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay? Cool. So that's what I wanted to go through. We're gonna do a second part, but I'm about to eat like 3 or 4 of these fruits. So y'all can talk to yourself in the chat for a second if y'all want. All right. Let your boy finish this real quick. It's absolutely the beauty of God. I appreciate that. I appreciate all those words. Thank you. Nope. Consuming information does not ground us in knowing or being at all. Consuming information is just consuming information. Now, you can consume information, but don't make it conditional, right? That whole, if I get to a point where I know enough, now I can be that which I already am, right? There's the issue. That's where the issue lies. You're already that which you desire to be. You're already that which you desire to be. The magic moment isn't when the right information comes in. The magic moment is when you choose. Because I remember going down in the reality creation space especially, it got to the point where like I was having these aha moments all the time, and I was like, oh, now I get it. And then that little kick of dopamine wore off, and I went right back to wanting more. No, I need just some more. I need that feeling. Right? It wasn't until I just decided I am the person I desire to be, no matter how I feel. Boom, that was it. Now from that point, find all the information I want. Right? Seek all the extra information that I want. It's cool. But I already do it from the knowing that I'm already it. I'm already it. Of course. Of course, it's okay to watch content. It's okay to read. Do all that, right? That's the one thing that we constantly talk about is the conditions, right? Just like you said, right? Don't make it conditional. You are the unconditional awareness. What liquids are we drinking? A little prune juice smoothie. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be tired of the chase to surrender. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. You know what's funny about that, right? Is it's often what we call rock bottom, right? Like, when we think of people that say, but I just hit rock bottom. And they're like, oh, there's nowhere to go but up. The magic in that quote unquote rock bottom is it's the moment of surrender. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wait till we get to quote unquote rock bottom. Right? We can decide. Little prune juice. Right? Your girl like when I drink prune juice. That's a great question. Why do we think rock bottom? I don't even know if we think that. I think now it's a programmed belief. It's a programmed belief where we're kind of taught. We're kind of taught that, hey, there's no, God damn, all these puzzle pieces. We're kind of taught like, hey, there's nowhere to go but up. But typically why it happens is you've been working for so hard trying to become this person, right? And finally you get to a point where you have no choice but to just surrender. Because it's like, damn, I don't know what to do next. That's such a powerful moment because it wasn't ever up to you to decide what to do next. It was simply up to you to trust and know that whatever you do next, whatever unfolds from right now is perfect. And so now you have no choice. You hit rock bottom. You have no choice but to choose that it's all still going to work out somehow or it's not. It becomes this magical moment. Now, if you can actually step into that magical moment and allow yourself to say it's all going to work out, miracles show up. You are carried by something that's more than you. Right, you're carried by the quote unquote greater part of you. Okay, I told you I've had rock bottom moments, right? Specifically with my apartment issue, right, where I was gonna get evicted, I had no job. It was a rock bottom moment where I had to decide that somehow, some way, God was gonna make a way, and that God, of course, being me. And there was a way made, right? But that's often the purpose of those moments. But we can do that whenever. Angel, my love. Goddess, how do you know when you've surrendered? How do you know when everything... Okay, let me ask your question back to you in a different way, because I really want you to hear what y'all are asking. How do you know that your name is Angel? How do you know that your name is Angel? Do you have to pull out your birth certificate every time to prove it? Define the knowing, right? It comes down to a decision. It comes down to a choice. It's beyond an emotion. It's just, oh, yeah, cool, that's my name, right? When you've known, got multiple. Happiness is letting go of what. Matter of fact, a lot of y'all need to read this one. You see that? What does that say? Yep. Oh, I know my dog gonna like this one. I know my brother gonna like this one. Mr. Atomic, I love that shit. Of course, I got the elephant. This is me and your girl. Me and your girl, right when we were reaching towards each other the other night. This was me and her reaching towards each other, holding hands. And then the psychedelic elephant. We got the Dallas, what y'all call them, the Dallas Reverse Cowgirls, which was crazy. That was a crazy name. You want the Cowboys? I can't do that one for you, bro. I can't do that. I can't do that. See? So y'all been manifesting backwards. I thought y'all were gonna get me to put up this picture. Who will finally choose that I have hung this picture up? Is it just me or does human existence feel like it's evolving? Absolutely. So let me ask you another question. So does human existence feel like it's evolving, right? Or is that simply your perception being mirrored back to you? This is an interesting thing, and I love that you asked that. I love that you made that statement, because I was thinking about this the other day. Let's do a little history lesson. Back, let's say 70s, 80s, right? There was a war on drugs. One of the purposes of the war on drugs was that it flooded these. Okay. Before the war on drugs began, there were a lot of minorities that worked within factories. All right. They started closing down these factories, and these factories were located in areas where these people's families worked in. Right. They started closing down these factories, and they had the war on drugs. They started flooding in drugs. Okay, because now you have a choice: feed your family, or starve, or sell this dope. Now, that's only one half of the war on drugs. What is the other half of the war on drugs? You also had these people that started to take and experiment with these psychedelics. And what was the message, the rallying cry of hippies? I remember when I was younger, when I was green, right? When I was a child, and I would see these hippies, and it was sold to me that they were crazy people. You know what I'm saying? They were always smiling and happy. I want you to think about that, right? We were sold the illusion that these were crazy people. But what was the message? Make love, not war. I mean, I don't have many just life philosophies, but that would probably be one. Make love, not war sounds like a damn good life philosophy, right? So you have these wars going on, and you have the draft, right? And now you have all of these people that are starting to take hold of their consciousness, and they're saying, oh no, we're all one. We're all one. And so now they say, oh hell no, we got to get this shit off the street. They make a psychedelic, what is like a class 4, I believe. It's the highest classification, okay? So you had this on two fronts. Now, hear me out. This is the point that I'm trying to make, right? Is that I remember for like the past year, I was like, man, there's a lot of people waking up And I'm starting to be able to have all these beautiful conversations with all these people. But then a part of me said, is that the case? Or is my perception just open to meet more people that are like me? Am I simply accepting? That there are people out there like me? And that's allowing me to meet them. Either way, I'm right? It's just a perception. I'm sure that if a lot of you were walking around in the 70s, I'm sure a lot of y'all would probably have been hippies for sure. I know I would have been if I was like old enough in that time. But, well, I'd probably be worried about other shit. Never mind. So, if at that time, right, I'm sure that if you were within those communities, that was what you saw. And so you saw this mass awakening happening. And so now we're constantly saying that, the reality of people are waking up, the earth is transitioning, things like that. That's all perception. It's all perspective. Even if I take that perspective, reality is going to change to meet me there. The same way if I say, bro, this place is shit. Everybody is stuck in politics. It's so hard for me to find like-minded people. There's people that come up on these panels and say that. Right? There's people that say that in the chat. And that truth that they accept is now shown to them. How beautiful is it that we all stand in the middle of the same world and we see completely different realities? One person sees the beauty of everyone waking up. They're always experiencing like-minded people, beautiful people that meet them at the same level of consciousness, that help them to expand their understanding of who they are, of God. Then you have other people that feel isolated. They feel like they're in a season of isolation. What's the difference between these two? Well, it always comes down to a choice of perspective. When are you going to break out of that lonely season? When are you going to decide that you run into people that are like-minded, that have the same goals as you, the same foundational beliefs that help you expand and grow? This is the only difference. What truly is the difference between someone who lives the life that they want and one who doesn't? One settles, the other doesn't. One settles for less. They're spoon-fed the American dream, or this is how people in your ethnicity or from your neighborhood or in your socioeconomic status, this is how those people survive. And they're spoon-fed that and they swallow that shit and they say, okay, cool, I'll give up on my dreams, I'll take this. Or they say, no, this is how life should be. When I was at the hospital with my aunt, right, my uncle was there, my aunt was there as well. And we were having this conversation and she was telling me that she was just kind of in awe about like where I was, like financially and things like that, right? And the statement that she made was, man, when I was young, I used to want to be free. But somewhere along the line, right, whether it was the community I was in, the schools I was in, I just settled. I just stopped. But I knew from a young age that I wanted to be free. She was like, it's just beautiful to see you kind of living out this life. And she was just asking me what my future plans were and like how I wanted to be. And I was like, well, you know, with my parents, when I'm done kind of in this season of serving, I don't really see myself tied to any location. I just kind of want to move around. I want to be able to go wherever the fuck I want to go. I'm simply in Dallas because they're here, right? I help them with my presence, right? But she was just like, wow, like, how do you even... It was interesting because a conversation was really like, how do you even get there? And my advice was, well, you decide it's possible. You know it's possible. You know that that's who you are, and the path magically unfolds. You'll talk to people that give you more ideas. Your situations will show up. Information will pop up. Right? It's not about me reaching to become something. It's about me becoming something and understanding that the divine flow of the infinite will push me there effortlessly. All I have to do is stay in the knowing. I think that's the natural way that children are, is that I don't believe that any children are born that like confinement. Children are extremely sovereign beings. Right? We just program them into conformity. Tell them not to touch that shit. They're going to look at you like you just gave them the dare of a lifetime. Why? Are you sure? Right? None of us are born programmed. None of us are born wanting to conform to the world. Children are radicals. They're rebels. They want to do what they want to do. And they have to be weaned out of that mindset. How often does, this awakening on the spiritual path and continuing to move forward just become a reawakening, a reigniting of that inner child? The child version of you, the inner child, like the kid version of you had no problem knowing what it was and saying, I don't care what the situation looks like, this is who I am. But how many of us struggle when we get on this path? Well, how can I be that if reality says different? This is the facts. It's another reason why it also says, be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom is within you. And all realities, all timelines, all versions of you already exist within you. How do you access it? By knowing that you're already that person. So the seek ye first the kingdom is the knowing that you already are it. Easy for children. Be like children to enter the kingdom of God. Hey, you're Batman, son. Yes, I am. But the world's not showing you that you're Batman. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, right? How much can we learn from kids? How much can we learn from them? These pure, rebellious, divine little beings, right? That just come out here like, fuck your rules, fuck your opinions. This is what I want to do. And you are going to drive yourself crazy trying to get me to conform. How beautiful, right? What if that became the outlook that you took? You're all gonna drive me crazy trying to get me to conform to what you believe I should be. And in the end, I'm going to prevail. I'll show you. Don't worry. I'll show you. What would it be like to really tap into that knowing that the inner world is much more real than the outer world? How much could you learn? A lot of you do have kids. How much could you learn about life by simply observing your children and their imagination a little bit more? By looking at their boldness, their ability to decide who they are. Right? If your daughter want to be Elsa, she finna be Elsa. Tell her she's not Elsa. Matter of fact, you'd be like, no, you're not going to be Elsa this time. I'm going to be Elsa. She's going to have a temper tantrum. She's going to start crying. No! I'm Elsa! No! Right? What if that was the attitude that you took about being prosperous? What if you simply knew yourself as prosperity? And if the world told you were not, you looked at the world like it was crazy. I don't have psychosis. That's y'all motherfuckers. Y'all motherfuckers are the ones with psychosis. I'm not going to agree with that, Yessie. I'm not going to agree with that. All right. Part 2 of the discussion. I love how y'all so patient with me. I appreciate it. Let me see how long this is, how much I want to do of it. Okay, let's do it. There's 5 sections. Okay, part one. All right, part one. Oh, can't do shit with 7% battery. Looks like I have a decision to make. It's okay. There we go. Oh yeah, all is well. As always, all is well. As always, all is well. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, so the whisper beneath all motion. We're going to talk about Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness, unity consciousness, oneness, I am. All right, remember, metaphysically, Jesus, the first quote-unquote begotten Son of God, represents what? Right? God is pure spirit. God is all that there is. God is not choosing favorites. God is not choosing one person to incarnate within. Okay? God is the all. Jesus metaphysically represents what? The first manifestation of God, or I am. I am. Awareness of being. God is all, the everything. It's existence itself. The first manifestation is just I am. It's awareness becoming aware of itself. Right? This is what you are, the manifestation, and then you are the manifestation of that word. All right. Okay. I'm lying. I don't feel like doing this lecture. Let's do Q&A. Let's just do questions, y'all. Matter of fact, if y'all want to join, go and join. Let's do that. Your boy is not. I don't feel like sitting up here just talking for that much anymore. Oh damn! They must have left. Okay. Oh, last night's live was. Let me check. Yeah, it's up there.
Stop failing evaluations and get funded in.
I think this is the one from yesterday. No, this is from 2 nights ago.
There we go. All right.
I don't think last night's was on YouTube. I think it was just on. TikTok. Cause I didn't do a lecture last night. I just did a Q&A on TikTok. I think. Yeah, that meditation's from a couple of days ago. You see. And then I have a bunch that say they're scheduled. Let me delete these. Say you fell asleep and woke up on something else's live. It's like waking up or falling asleep back in the day with the TV on. You end up with the Tip Drill, the Nelly Tip Drill music video on in the middle of the night. Or the Snoop Dogg Girls Gone Wild video. Y'all probably not old enough to remember that. That Snoop Dogg Girls Gone Wild video. They used to always come on in the middle of the night. Man. Snoop Dogg, boy, had how the hell Snoop Dogg get all these damn endorsements like this? Snoop Dogg is the definition of allowing who you are to make the path for you. Snoop Dogg is the definition of allowing who you are to simply make the path for you. We're just doing side quests for sure. I'm gonna be on that shit with Martha Stewart. Man. Boy, Snoop Dogg living a hell of a life. And now he about to do, and the Olympics are in, is it the Olympics or the World Cup? I think it's the Olympics. It's about to be in LA. Oh, by the way, when are the Olympics? Because I'm definitely going to be there the whole fucking time. I'm definitely going to get tickets to go to the opening ceremony for sure. Been over the cookbook. That's what I'm talking about. That's metaphysical as hell. The master manifested Snoop Dogg. He got yeah, for real. Then he just smokes weed unapologetically. He been doing that shit forever. Unapologetically, still got all, like, that's how you know. That's how you know. It don't matter what the hell you do. It only matters who you are. Snoop fucking Dogg, bro. All right. Y'all don't have any questions today? Nobody wants to join. No questions. That's cool. Forget y'all then. I'll jump off. What's up, Yessie? What was your question, man? My bad. Copy and paste it for me. Yeah, we should have a Glow and Yessie live. Let Glow and Yessie both just come up.
Hello.
What's up, Yessie? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm catching my breath because I was at the gym.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure your ass. See, I'm making sure your ass not in danger, bro. I don't need you to be calling me instead of calling 911.
I think I'll call you before I call 911.
Nah, man. But what's up, bro? What's up with your crazy ass?
I kind of wanted to expect for us to go more in depth about what I had asked you earlier, because I feel like it was a pretty good point that I noticed, and also too because I feel like a lot of us could relate as well, but we really don't know how to navigate it because there's just so much information going on that for me it was just like I feel like while I've been working with you, I have released a lot of resistance, but then again it's like how do we really navigate, like, knowing that we're not the thoughts, but also, like, but not separating ourselves from it, like, if it's something bad or the emotions as well, because a lot of people, I'm sure that whenever they start, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
But, I feel like a lot of us can relate where, like, we're sitting here and it's like, okay, well, if you're not feeling okay, then that means it's basically just an alert system saying that you're not thinking properly or you're out of alignment. And a lot of us freak out because of that. And we start, out of trying to get ourselves from it and wait for it better, instead of just kind of allowing it to be in a bit as a part of our human experience. I don't know, like, to me, it was like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, because to me, I feel like, to this point, I'm still trying to navigate that, but it's like, also I'm not trying to cause so much separation, because I feel like that makes me, I don't know, like, create a lot of resistance as well.
Makes sense. Just to give y'all some background, to help y'all, if you didn't understand exactly what the question was, is we're constantly, okay, so when you're brought into this space, right, you're taught you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, right? You're the awareness behind it, okay? But how does that translate to how you actually go about your day-to-day life, right? So I could know I'm not my thoughts or not my emotions. I can say, okay, I can observe them. That's cool. But does that simply become a hang-up in my life? Now when I have a thought, I'm trying to remind myself I'm not it. I'm trying to constantly put myself in this place where I'm just watching my thoughts and emotions. Can that be overwhelming? Sure it can, right? Especially in the beginning, it can be overwhelming. Here's the question I want to ask you, Yessie. If you're not your thoughts and emotions, then why would you need to chase them? Why would you need to watch them? Why would you need to remind yourself that you're not them constantly?
Well, for me, it had been, it just kind of allowed me to kind of separate myself from so much suffering that I thought I was going through, because I thought I was them, and it was just, I was just going to do. So me coming to, like, to realizing, okay, well, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions, that at the moment did create some source of, like, relief for me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not it, I'm not that. And till now, even though I know, like, I'm not them, they still somewhat feel real to me, because I did identify with them for like 31 years. But now it's just like, I realized the other day where I was sharing with you that I was emotional, that I was sitting there not being, I was trying to navigate my emotions, reminding myself, okay, well, right now is the perfect time for me to, remind myself I'm not my emotions. And I'm trying to navigate something, and I couldn't even just be. It was just, I was trying to be, but also what trying to do. And it just felt like it was too much. I was like, man, like, what the hell do I do here?
Yeah.
And it's just like, now it's just like, okay, well, like, I'm still like, to me, it's still relieving to know that I am not those names, like, I'm not the thoughts. But then again, like, with your teaching, it's like, we're all there is, so there's no separation. And to me, it's a little bit difficult that I still can't fully understand that, because it still helps me to separate myself from those thoughts that I don't prefer.
Okay. What if you just didn't do anything with those thoughts? What if you didn't do anything with your thoughts and your emotions? If they're not creating, why do anything with them? I have already decided who I am. So now I don't need to observe shit. I don't need to say I'm not my thoughts. I don't need to observe my emotions. I don't need to say I'm not them. I'm not them anything anyway. So the remembrance of that is not to get you to a point where you're trying to watch every single one of them. You can't even have a life if you're doing that. You have like 60,000 of these motherfuckers a day. The point is Don't do anything with them. Don't fight them. You don't have to remind yourself. You don't have to do anything with them. They're not creating anyway. When you remember that, then you remember that, and then you just go right back into what you were doing. If I'm sad, I'm sad. But it's not creating anything. So that's the point that I'm making, is that I don't walk around reminding myself I'm not my thoughts and my emotions. That's just a fact. Of course I'm not. If I think about, if there comes a time where I want to remind myself, cool, but I don't need to constantly tell myself I'm not my thoughts and my emotions, because I'm not. I just do nothing with them. I allow them to be what they are. I allow the emotions to be what they are. I do absolutely nothing with them. All of them, they're not real anyway. The only thing that's real is that I am God and I am who I decide that I am. And I've already decided on prosperity. Therefore, if something shows up like a hospital bill and it looks like a lot, it doesn't matter. Of course, I'm going to feel a certain way. I might think a certain way. That's fine. And I remember, okay, well, I still just am prosperity. And then I still feel the same way that I did. But I don't have to linger on constantly reminding myself of anything. Nothing can stop me from who I decide that I am. No thought, no emotion. That's where the empowering part is. I don't need to remind myself. I don't need to do anything with the thoughts and emotions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I do get it. What I guess what I'm really trying to understand is, like, from my understanding, it was that whenever, let's say, whenever you're feeling a certain way, right? And certain thoughts come in, and you just kind of go with those thoughts, like, oh my God, I feel lonely. Yeah, there's nobody there for me. I mean, because that's what I experienced the other day, what I was sharing with you. I was feeling lonely, and I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. But the reason why I couldn't cry is because when I couldn't cry was because whenever I would tell myself, well, all of this is not true. So then my tears would completely stop. But as soon as I would go with the story of, oh my God, I am lonely, I feel bad, what can I just have whatever I want? Oh my God, all the tears in the world will come out. And my understanding of it was that at a moment like that, it's like you can observe your thoughts, but don't go with the story, because if you do go with the story and the emotions, then you are identifying with it.
If you do go with the story and the emotions, then you're identifying with it.
Yeah, like if you do like, oh my God, yeah, I am so lonely, and you start crying and nothing ever works out for me, or this and that, then you are identifying with the thoughts and the emotion at the time. And that's where I'm kind of trying to understand, because it's like when I allow myself to feel and I don't go into the story, I don't cry. But if I do go into the story, I do cry. Okay,
I got you. I understand exactly what you're saying. This is an important part to remember when it comes to this. Time is not linear. Okay, so time is not linear, and I'm saying that for a reason, right? So time is not linear. What I mean by that is that I want you to let's imagine time being this straight line. Okay, straight line. Time is on here. Okay, and so now in the morning you woke up and you went to the gym, and now all of a sudden you had a feeling that I am lonely, and you went on with that story for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. I'm lonely. Things aren't working out. Okay, cool. Underneath all of that is still God. For that hour, you were telling that story. From your perspective, what you're making it sound like is that because you've made this hour-long story, okay, somehow that overwrites that you are God. Somehow that overwrites that you're not lonely. Somehow that overwrites that you are still the person you desire to be. Okay? What I'm trying to tell you is that it's not that you win an hour and all of a sudden that's reality is being created, and now you have to do another hour of saying I'm not lonely on top of that to manifest the opposite against it, right? Because that's the only way that what you're saying would make sense, is that if you are stuck in a quote unquote story for a certain amount of time, then that means that that story is going to unfold. But there is no time. There's only right now. So I don't care if you've been telling that story for a day. I don't care if you've been telling that story for a year. All I care about is what the story is that you are telling right now, because right now is the truth of who you are. Because you've been God this whole time, you can tell the story that, oh, well, because I said that I was lonely for an hour before, now that is going to become my reality. Or I can say, in this moment, I choose to remember that I've been God and I've never been lonely the whole time. Only none of the past exists. Only now exists. So it's not about me sitting in a moment and having to fight off my thoughts in the moment. I don't have to be scared of them. I don't have to say, oh, because I'm identifying with sadness in this moment and for this hour I'm telling a story. That's irrelevant unless I decide that it is relevant. All that is relevant is when you remember, it should be a moment of giving yourself grace. I remember I'm God. Therefore, in this moment, it's everything. I've never been lonely. I'm always supported. Everything always works out for me. And it always has, even when I forgot. Because that story was not true. I simply went down that path for an hour. And now I'm back with the remembrance of who I am now. And that wipes out that hour. Right now wipes out everything. Time doesn't matter. There's no past. There's no future. There's only right now. All timelines exist right now. You get to choose who you are right now. So forgetting is just part of the game. It's part of the dance. There's no strikes against you for forgetting. That's what you're here for. You're here to forget. You're here to become immersed in the illusion of separation, to enjoy yourself, to see yourself from different perspectives. This is not a game of, it doesn't take time. It simply takes your decision that you're already at right now.
So Alex, what I mean is like, I'm aware of, like at the moment I'm aware, but it's just like, I don't know what route to go. It's like, do I entertain the story or not? Because I'm aware. It's like, I can entertain it or not entertain it, but it's just like, I'm in the middle, not knowing what to do because I am aware. I'm not like,
I know.
I'm feeling and I'm not aware.
I know. You see, that's what I'm saying is entertain it or don't entertain it. You make the choice of who you are and then simply be. Make the choice of who you are and then stop making that choice conditional. Saying, oh, I have to do this thing. Remember? So you're going back to what do I have to do instead of who you have to be. Who you are is you make the decision that everything is working out. You've made the decision that you're not lonely, that God is with you, that it's all working out. It's perfectly unfolding. The money is coming. The SPs is coming. All 5 of your SPs are on their way. You can make that choice right now. And then, because you've made that choice, because that is the truth of who you are right now, and your emotions and thoughts are not. Now do whatever.
Where did you get the 4 SPs from? Do you know something I don't know yet? The other extra 4?
Maybe.
You know what? I'm not gonna block my blessings. Amen to that.
Amen. Amen. Don't block none of them blessings, girl. Don't block them. But yeah, man. So you make the decision. Make the decision and then flow with life. Choose flow. Choose flow, right? Choose who you are. And then flow with life. Flow with the emotions. Flow with the thoughts. Flow with whatever. Choose who you are. Flow through life. Then when you remember again, choose again. Flow through life. Make it this dance. Don't make it about who you're being in every single goddamn moment. You've already chosen who you are right now.
So if I'm understanding correctly, Alex, basically you're saying, because like I said, it's whenever I'm experiencing stuff like that, I feel like most of the time, it's like I don't really go, I guess what you will call unconscious, right? I'm very aware of what's happening. I just don't know how to kind of process it. So if at a moment like that, if a thought comes in and I want to entertain this story and that makes me feel good and release whatever I'm releasing, do that. And if I also don't want to entertain the story and that makes me comfortable, I can do that as well. It's choose whichever one gives me relief to feeling better, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to think about that, sure. But you can make a decision that the thoughts aren't creating anything anyway. So why chase them? Why try to do anything with them? Why not simply do what I feel is best in this moment, knowing it's all going to work out no matter what? Why not just decide to be God?
The reason why I don't do that, where I don't go into like the thoughts whenever like I'm feeling emotional, it's because I feel like I go into victimhood, and I don't like that because when I feel that when I do that, I'm not in control, and I'm always in power. Like I have the power all the time, and I feel like I'm victimizing myself going into a story that I don't even prefer.
Yeah. But that's okay. Though it's not creating anything anyway. You've already decided who you are. It's only creating if you say it's creating, which you can say it's not. I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to do is take the pressure off of you thinking that you have to constantly be in this super focused, uptight. That's not, you didn't come down here to try to focus your mind on one direction for the rest of eternity. You came down here to have a human experience.
Okay.
Okay, what? Did we add more confusion? I feel like that alleviated it.
No, it did. It just, I feel like it was that. It was just like, like I said, my understanding of it was that if I did went with the story and I was going with the story with the emotion or whatever it was, at that moment I was identifying with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But right now, what I'm really trying to just kind of, I guess, understand or go by is not creating so much separation, but I still really don't understand whenever it's like, oh, well, I am all there is, and that includes those emotions, those thoughts, but then it's like, I am not my thoughts. You're
not any of it. You're only what you choose to be.
What? See, that's more. I mean, you say we're all there is.
You are all that there is.
Everything.
Yeah, you are all that there is. You're all that there is, right? Remember, we have to speak in concessions to understand the all. Because yes, you're all that there is. Absolutely. Okay?
Alex, what is concessions? I looked it up the other day, but I forgot what it meant.
We have
like separating, like breaking things down?
Yeah, we have to break things down, or we have to speak in a way that's less than the whole. We have to break it into pieces to talk about it to make sense of the whole. Right? That's why we say subconscious, superconscious, unconscious. There's only one mind, but we speak like that just so we can understand it from a human perspective.
Okay, and continue, Alex, you were saying?
I forgot it.
You were going to say. Okay, I'll remind you, because you were saying, but you're not your thoughts. And then it's like, but you said we're all that there is, you know, everything. Like, so that's kind of where, like, I go into, like, okay, I am all there is, but I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my emotions.
I thought you were solid on the you are not your thoughts and you're not your emotions. You are awareness, and thoughts and emotions rise in consciousness. They rise within your awareness. Right? Just like your body rises in your awareness. Just like you see your neighbor and they show up in your awareness. Just like the house that you live in is in your awareness, right? You're not your house. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. Who you are is what you decide to be. If I say I am prosperity, but really I'm only it because I choose to be it. I am everything. I am the all, but I get to choose what perspective of the all to take.
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay. I think because that was just something that it had been lingering on me for a while now, that I feel like I couldn't understand, where he's like, well, Alex says that we're all there is, which is the good and the bad and everything, whatever, everything's neutral, and we're everything.
Yeah.
But then, kind of separating myself from like I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my emotions. And I mean, I will still go by that, because I mean, that helps me. But then I was like, but if I'm all there is, well, I am all these thoughts too. So it was kind of like, it was a little confusing, but now it's like, I am all there is that I choose to be. Yeah.
You are everything that you choose to be. That was it. That last statement is it. You're everything that you choose to be. And you don't have to choose to be your thoughts or your awareness. Those things are just reactive things anyway. So just knowing that you are what you choose to be, that is enough. Everything is you, right? So when, at what moments would it help me to know that everything is me? Let me ask you that before I go on further. In what ways would it help me to understand or know that everything is me?
For the things that I desire, that
yes,
I want.
Exactly, right? It's somebody is quote unquote leaves you. How could I leave myself? How could they leave me? How could I leave me, right? Because they're just me. So I can't leave me. Therefore, the way that I know and feel about myself, they must feel and know about me, right? Love can't leave me. Therefore, it might seem like they leave, but they could never leave because love can't leave me because I am love. I'm the wellspring of love. I am the origin point of love in this reality. So in those times, right, it makes sense for me to remind myself that I'm everything. In other times, right, I simply know that I'm prosperity. So it's no money to get, right? How could money leave me? I am the money. Why? How could I need money or want money or get money from out there when I am the money? Right? So you are the all, but you are experiencing a single perspective of yourself, allowing you to choose what part of the all you want to identify with. Doesn't take away that it's all you. If you want to identify that it's all you, you can. Or you can simply choose to have the experience that you want by choosing and knowing who you desire to be.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's basically you are all you choose to be.
You are reality. You don't look at reality. You are looking at reality as reality. You just are reality. What you decide is true is reality. Thoughts, emotions, they don't have to matter. You don't have to monitor them. You don't have to do shit with them. You can let them be and know who you are because you are reality. It's how powerful you are.
But it all comes back to your choice. It's like, it's all what you choose to be. It's like,
yes.
It's just always a choice. Like, okay, I am not, I guess basically just play with it as like, choose what benefits you and what doesn't benefit you. What do you want to identify with and what you don't want to identify with.
Absolutely. Exactly. That's it. That's it. That is it. I don't have to sit here and be like, oh, well, if I go down this path and feel this way, then I'm telling that story. Fuck that. It's not me. I'm not that thought anyway. I'm just feeling this way. Therefore, I am. So I'm just going to decide who I am. Well, not therefore I am. I meant therefore I'm just going to feel this way. But this is still who I am. And I can remember that now. I can remember that tomorrow. I can remember that tonight. It doesn't matter. In this moment, what I choose is the absolute truth anyway. I've already chosen it. Make sense? You want to be talking to your SP?
I'm sorry?
You were talking to your new gym SP.
No, I'm in the car. I'm over here. Like my mind just went blank.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
Does it make sense so far?
It makes sense, but I lose it. But I mean, I know I got it.
Mm-hmm. Basically, you are reality. You are the chooser. You are the law.
It's just all a choice. That's it.
You're the law.
It's like, okay, so it's like me sitting here and be like, okay, I'm worthy. That's my choice, right?
Yes.
And then you could be on the other side and be like, I'm not worthy. Well, that's your choice. If you want to relate to that, that's cool, but that's not me.
Exactly.
Like we both have the choice to choose what we want. It's just like, it's just always just you choosing what you want.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
You're everything and nothing. Therefore, you get to choose whatever you want to experience.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you, Yessie.
Don't kick me out the log yet. I'm not done.
Yay. Yeah. What other questions you got?
I'm still trying to process this one, Alex, but another thing, Alex, the thoughts come from our mind.
They rise up within your mind.
So that's another thing that yesterday I was like, the hell?
Okay. Well, what is the other thing?
Well, that it's the other thing that I just asked. Thoughts don't even come from the mind itself. I thought it came with from my mind.
No. Okay. Your mind is just a mechanism. Okay. You can walk around and certain things just show up in your awareness. Things show up in awareness, in consciousness. Everything just shows up from consciousness, from God, from awareness, from the all. Everything rises up. And then as everything rises up within your awareness, now you start to choose. But we can get so attached to things, or we can start, associating with things for so long and make it feel normal that all of a sudden now we start thinking about things in a certain way. And of course, y'all can join if you want. Shit, many of y'all want to join if you want. Just hit the join button. I got you. But yeah, it's not that it's coming up within your mind. It's coming up within consciousness. Keep going. I think this is helping people.
But it's wild.
Yeah. However,
Here we go.
let me throw a
There
wrench.
we go.
Let me throw a wrench in here. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna throw a wrench in here. It doesn't matter. Yes. You are everything and nothing at the same time.
Explain what you were gonna say.
No. It was just gonna confuse.
Okay.
It's not an important subject. The only thing that's important is that you know that you're not your thoughts, you're not the mind. The paradox is that you are everything and nothing at the same time. You're God, simply allowing yourself to have the perspective as from one perspective, which gives you the illusion, right, to choose whatever you want. That's it. But it's all you.
Alex, what do you mean we're everything and nothing at the same time? You said to keep going, that it's helping people, so I'm gonna keep going.
Everything rises up within awareness, and you are pure awareness. Okay? But because these things rise and fall within your awareness and they're temporary, they cannot judge, they cannot define you. They can't define you. Okay? So you are the all. You simply are the I am. I exist, right? You are the isness of reality. I am. I exist. Everything rises up within you, so everything is you. But because those things rise and fall, you cannot be defined by them, so they are not you. You simply are the awareness that flows through, that observes, that sees, that is the fabric of everything that exists.
Back to choice again. I could choose
You can choose
everything
whatever.
and I could choose nothing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Need some more.
Got it.
Need some more prune juice.
Oh, goodness. Come on, Alex, you got more than that.
Please.
Just this little 10-minute prep talk, it's got nothing on you.
No, I
You've
don't.
sat down with me for like 2 hours and it's been nothing but and but.
Exactly.
I came a long way, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you judge me.
I'm not
Make-
judging.
Make me feel like I'm overwhelming you.
I'm not judging you at all. I'm actually extremely proud of you. I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
You're doing you are doing extremely well, right? But you already know what the next step is.
Don't give me that side eye, Alex. Thank you, Alex. I truly, truly appreciate you.
Absolutely, yes. So from this point forward, right, you know that everything is a choice. So what do you choose? Do you choose to be in the unconditional knowing that everything is working out, knowing that you're not your thoughts, not your emotions? Those things can flow. Those things can simply go, and you can remain in the knowing, whether you remember or not, that you are already everything that you decide.
Yeah. Now, definitely working with you has allowed me to just reach so much resistance. Like you have no idea. I feel like I was trying to manage everything that I was doing, every behavior, every move, everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now I'm just allowing myself to be. like do whatever I want to do at the moment. And I feel like that has helped me out tremendously. Like even for like Thanksgiving week, I'm like, I don't want to go with my family. And I feel completely at peace not wanting to go with my family. It's not that I don't love them. It's not that I don't want to be with them. I just don't want to go. So why do I need to do something that somebody else said we need to do because I think I need to be with the family? Blah, blah. Like, no.
Exactly.
I just don't want to go.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Exactly.
You know, and it's just like just allowing myself to just be and letting people just be as well. Just literally just have like really so much stress from me.
Facts. Big facts, Yessie. That's it, right? You simply get to be, right? And a lot of times, it's not that we're judging them or we think we have to live up to their expectations. They simply become the mirror into how we judge ourselves. These are simply empty vessels walking around carrying our assumptions. And it's nothing but me judging me. I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. I just have to decide who I am and flow through life from that knowing. If I don't want to do this shit, well, okay. Now, I can either just decide not to do it, or I can start judging myself for not doing it and use everybody around me to simply mirror that judgment back at me. I'd rather use my time to do other things. So it always comes down to us. There is nothing to control but us. There's nothing to choose except for us. We get to be the decision makers. We all sit in the center of our reality. As reality. We all are reality. Why not choose who you want to be and simply move from the knowing that you're already it?
I also feel as like I could earlier today you kind of said something about like I don't remember exactly what you said, but you were talking about other people comparing like us judging ourselves. And I kind of came down to like the other day I was like, well, they may think this person is better than me because of this. And whenever you said this, I was like, no, it wasn't them.
Exactly.
Me thinking that they're thinking that. It's because I think that. That's why I think they are thinking that.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with them. They're not thinking anything. People are just walking around empty-headed. It's me thinking that I'm less than, which is me projecting that thought within somebody else and saying they probably think that I'm less than this other person. And now all of a sudden they're carrying that assumption back to me. It was me the whole time.
That is so true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I'll let the other person speak.
Appreciate you, Jesse. What's up, KJX? What's up, Jasmine? How y'all doing?
Hello. I'm really shy, so this is my first time joining a live.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you were able to join.
I'm always here.
Well, no, I'm grateful that you're able to join. I know you're always here. Because you always ask an SP question. I know who you are, girl. I know who you are.
I'm sorry, I have musty SP questions.
It's okay. It's okay. We love all SPs, even the musty ones.
So I have a question because I've been on this journey for quite some time now, and my situation with my SP, we're in contact, we see each other, we talk to each other, all of that, but there's constant hot and cold behavior. Like he'll be all over me, like last week he was all over me, came over, all of that stuff.
Okay.
And then, the communication just slows down and things like that. And then, there's third parties involved and things of that sort. And I feel like I've listened to so much content, and like I listen to you all the time. I talk to Glow all the time. And she actually helped me a lot last week about like seeing like dry responses as like, like if a friend, like I ignore your text message, you're not going to think anything of it. So it's kind of like how you perceive things and whatnot. And that really helps me a lot. And I've been in a good place like the past week or so. Like I stopped affirming and all this other stuff. And it's kind of just like, I feel like I'm in a good place, but then it's like I get this behavior again. Yeah. And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong,
Well,
you're not doing anything wrong.
Exactly. The answer is in the question, right? So it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's you holding on to the belief that you're doing something wrong. And now that's actually being outpictured in your life, right? We think that we're being chained to the past. Like there's this monster dragging us there. But it's us holding on to the monster. You don't have to tell the story. Exactly. You don't have to tell the story that anything is holding you back, right? Let me ask you this question, Miss KJX. Your SP is you, right?
Yes.
How could you leave you? How could you be hot and cold with yourself?
I don't even know how to answer that.
The only way that you
When
could
you take it personally, you don't have to do that. You don't have to take it personally. You're like how are you perceiving them?
exactly. It's if they can't leave you, the only thing, if they can't be hot and cold with you because you can't be hot and cold with yourself, the only way that could happen is if you start telling the story that they're hot and cold with you. You can go directly to the truth. What is the truth? Okay, they are me. They can't be hot and cold with me because I'm not hot and cold with myself anymore. I decide who I am, and I'm this unconditionally. I could feel a certain way about it, but I still am it. I can think certain ways about it, but I still am it. It's releasing the chain of that story. Just let go of that story. Decide it's not true anymore.
I feel like well, maybe I'm really not doing this, but like I'll have moments where like, yeah, like I'm looking at him differently and I'm perceiving like, oh, he's being dry, so I'll take that as he's busy and things of that sort. Like I changed that story, but it's like I see something in my reality, like his next door or something like that, and that like drives me over the edge, and I know I can perceive it as other things, and it's just so hard for me. Like I don't, it's just really, really hard.
Why are you perceiving it that way though? Why is it like it's such a hard aspect for you? Like it's really not that hard. It's more of along okay, my bad. But like if you actually sat back and just looked at your whole reality right now, you sat back, you're just like, you know what, this is how I am, this is who I am. Like you have to just like dial it back for a second and realize that like when Alex says that everyone is you, this doesn't mean that literally everyone is you. This means like how are you reacting to people when they show up in your reality? Are you gonna show up based on like your conditioning or anything like that? Or are you gonna show up based on based on just the whole perception of everything? So when this guy is just showing up the way he is, just dial it back. And sorry, my bad. Don't take it personally like you're doing something wrong. You have to remember that. Like it's like you have to sit back and just allow fans to just do what they are. You're not doing anything wrong. Just allow fans to just do what they are.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Give reality permission to unfold perfectly for you, right? Meaning, right now you get to make a decision. In this moment, you get to make a decision to say, okay, I am reality, and this person is mine. This is who I am. I am right now the version of myself who is not left, who is always loved. Okay? You get to make that decision. Now, once you make this decision, remember, the gifts, the callings of God, right, are irrevocable. All right. So the moment that you make this decision, nothing can take this away from you. You are already that person. Now, what is the only thing that can show up in your reality, that can show up in your life, that can suggest that you're not that person that you desire to be? Well, the only thing from this point are thoughts and emotions. These are the only two things. The situation, right, can look a certain way and it can lead to a thought that you're not it. An emotion can lead to a thought. A thought can lead to an emotion. These things can show up to try to tell you that you are not it. But fortunately, the situation doesn't create reality. Fortunately, emotions don't create reality. Fortunately, thoughts don't create reality. So if I know those three things, there's nothing that I have to do with the thoughts and the emotions. I simply remind myself and remember who I am, and I allow those things to pass. And when I have the opportunity, I remember that I'm already who I desire to be. Miss KJ.
Yeah, thoughts and emotions don't dictate your reality. Is if you identify with it. It's if like, oh, this is my thought. This is therefore this is my emotion. Like, yeah, no, like you get to choose now. And yes, I love the fact that you're here.
Hi, Danny. Thank you.
I love Yessie. She's one of the first OGs that I used to sit there and like coach and like be with. You know what I mean? Like, because everyone's trying to experience it themselves and trying to figure out the reality. And Yessie is the OG right here. She wants to know. She's an intellectual.
Fact.
Oh, Alex knows that. He knows I'm gonna have my questions. I'm always gonna have a question.
Questions. You always have questions, Jesse, and I love it.
Fact.
Appreciate you, Danny.
It's good seeing you, though.
Thank you. Likewise.
Miss KJX, I got a question for you. I want to walk with you down this path. I want to walk through this together with you. So I want you to tell me right now, okay? So the story with your SP in this moment, right? What do you believe is actually happening? What do you believe the unfolding looks like moving forward? And we're going to work through this together.
So, do you want me to say like what I want, or like what I what
Yes.
I feel like at the moment? I guess.
Both. I want you to tell me first what you want from the situation. Then I want you to tell me what you feel. And if I interrupt you a couple times, I got you.
No, you're okay. So obviously I want commitment with this person. You know, he has a daughter that, you know, I'd love for him to introduce me to, and, you know, I want that relationship with him and his daughter. And that's, you know, what I've been dealing with for the past almost 2 years with this person.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting right now, there's a third party involved. There's, you know, I'll see you when I see you kind of thing, like the hot and cold behavior of, you know, I'll be super nice to you and come see you and call you every day this week, but then the next week I disappear kind of thing.
Okay, cool. So from there, let's go. Don't change my mind. Let's not talk about at all what you don't want. All right. Let's not talk about what it is anymore. Let's just purely give me the rundown of exactly what you want from him.
Commitment, consistency, communication, love, marriage, you know, kids, things like that.
Okay, perfect. So this is the person that you want long-term commitment with. You want to marry. This is it. This is your person. This is you. This is it for you.
Yes, this is what I want.
Okay. And so that version of him, right, that you just mentioned, do you believe or know that that version of him exists within him?
I do. You know, because I've seen several things about him, and it's just, you know, like there have been circumstances since the beginning, and just the way that he still is around, and there are just a lot of things that he's done for me that I know that it's not me just making this up. I wouldn't feel this way if it wasn't true, you know?
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? It doesn't matter what you've seen. It doesn't matter what reality has shown you, right?
Yeah.
The reason why it's possible is because you choose, right? I don't want you leaning and saying, oh, because I've seen this, I know it's true. That's irrelevant. Because I've experienced this is true. That's irrelevant. That's not why it's true. Why it's true is because you choose that it's true. Right? So right now, a lot of what you're saying, right, your entire story has constantly been based on what you see, right? If I see this, if I see his snap score went up, now that means that this happened. If I see that he doesn't do this, that means this. If it looks like this, that means that. You're constantly making this if-then statement. If I see this, then this is what it means. When that's not the truth at all, right? Here's the thing. You have defined who he is right now, and now all you're doing is you think that you're walking through the situation linearly, right? And you're saying, oh, because I've seen this, this is what it is. What you're really doing is you have formed this assumption of who he is. In your mind, you're saying, okay, well, I feel like he's hot and cold. Sometimes he's cool. Sometimes he's not. You know, so I do want these things, and I've seen that he can be those things, right? So you have decided that. But now you're pulling all these past stories, right? All these feelings. And you're just filling in the blanks, and you're reinforcing part of your story that you want to believe in more or less. If you keep doing that, if you keep going down that route, then you will simply stay in the same situation. What we got to do, go ahead.
No, you can't even look at it as like everyone has like a label of everybody. Like this person shows up the way they are. Like this is why I feel like everyone's you pushed out is a fucking very distorted perception of someone. Like people show up how they are because that's how they are. But like once we hold people in that position, we keep judging and labeling. Like that's why I say forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing.